Peace. If you're feeling a bit of deja vu because I just posted what looks like the same video yesterday, you're not alone. So I wanted to release the footage that I actually intended to release, which was the first half of September's planetary alignments. The video I ended up posting yesterday, I actually did not intend to post um, because it was not the complete first half of September. Definitely still relevant, but not that specific content that I intended to post for the first half of September. So while I was reviewing things and kind of contemplating what my next video would look like, I identified the snafu that I made. And for a split second, I thought, oh, like it's too late. You've already posted it. But you know what? The content is relevant and necessary. And I would really like for you to see it so that you can receive the message that I have with regard to the first half of September. So enjoy. Thank you so much for your support. Peace. Peace. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy September. First, make sure that you do all of your first of the month rituals, whatever they are. Um, Cleaning, like I'm distracted because I see it looks like a little cobweb or something behind me and it's driving me nuts. Anyway, do your cleaning that you do at the beginning of the month. Do your whatever rituals you do, depending on whatever spiritual practice you have, if any. There are lots of things that you can do at the very least, setting your intentions for the upcoming calendar month to be well, and you like to create the certain ambiance in your space to represent whatever energy you are setting your intentions to have. So, whether that's smudging or if you do any candle magic, if you do any sort of smoke bowls or lighting incense, any chants or prayers that you do, whatever you do, if you do all the things, then happy September. It's time to get started with that. So, definitely the first few days of the month, if you can, but preferably the first of the month. And to be honest, I mean, we're all human. I don't always get around to doing those things. I always set my intentions though and will journal about what I want to accomplish in the next month, what I my plans are, but life, you know, is lifing and we don't always get around to doing the things. So anyway, just wanting to put that little reminder out there, the little buzz in your ear, if you will. So um do the things if you feel led to do them. But for now, I have um I have my planner. This is actually my homeschool planner because I homeschool my boys. But um, this is the time to discuss the upcoming month's transits. So let's dive in. Now, it's a lot. I'm not even gonna front, I'm not gonna hold you. For the month of September, there are of um a lot of the more recognizable planetary aspects taking place in September. There are dozens of different aspects because just like there are squares, that's one of the common ones, there are semi-square aspects, which represent a 45-degree angle versus the 90-degree that a square represents. So there's like many ones of all of them. And most of the mini ones, which are called minor planetary aspects, are not typically followed or even mentioned by most astrologers. But of the main ones, the squares, oppositions, trines, conjunctions, the sextiles, which are lighter positive aspects, I only tend to focus on those if it further enhances another aspect that's also taking place at the same time. So that's usually the only time you'll hear me mention those. but also the quincunx energy, which is not always recognized, but in my opinion, a quincunx, aka in conjunct, is more noteworthy than an opposition, because an opposition, that's a 180-degree difference, and that represents the need to face the energy that those entities represent, where a quincunx essentially is a blockage. If a conjunction represents the true enhancement of the energies that are represented between the conjunction, the inconjunct is the opposite of that. It's a true blockage, and it's where you will feel angst between those entities that are in conjunct each other. It represents a 150-degree difference between them, and yeah, that one is, I would definitely say, is the most negative aspect. All of them are workable, and some of them are just more challenging than others, and I identify them and recognize them as just a needs improvement area, if you will. So without further ado, let's dive in. So with that being said, that is why I I'm splitting the month of September into 2 monthly videos. I'm still going to post the weekly videos. I know I fell off in August, but August didn't really have that much going on, thankfully. But in September, there's so much going on. I will definitely post weekly September videos, but yeah, it's a lot going on, like almost on a daily basis, at least in the first couple of weeks of September. So as I was making my notes and everything, I kind of stopped once I hit September 16th, because I realized there was so much going on that I'd just be talking and talking and talking and talking. So yeah, so you will see 2 monthly videos, a part 1 and a part 2, with the month broken in half, and then I will still do the weekly videos where I can dive in a little bit more. Okay, so let's get started. Peace. Okay, so this is the monthly video for September. I did that little disclaimer at the beginning, the little opening for the month, but now let's talk about these transits. So I tell you, my main observation for this early part of September is that Mercury and Mars are really battling it out, not with each other, but with other entities in this early part of September. So Mercury represents our communication, the way that we express ourselves, and your Mercury placement, wherever you have it in your chart, that's what it represents. So we know that the 3rd house is the house of communication, but Mercury governs the 3rd house, and, pardon the outside noise, and Mercury actually represents how we express ourselves. So we can look at all of the aspects between Mercury and other planets and identify how they will affect the way that we communicate with each other. So first we have Mercury going direct in Leo, which is great. Mercury has been in retrograde for the past 3 weeks. Before that, we had the pre-shadow period for 2 weeks. Right now, we have the post-shadow period for 2 weeks. So it's not as simple as, yay, it's direct. There is still some residual energy from the retrograde, so watch out for that. Now on September 3rd, we have Mars, which represents our focus in life, our energy with regard to taking action in our life. Mars on September 3rd is in the critical or anaretic degree, that is the 29th degree. Mars will be in the sign of Gemini, which is this duality. So it's like it can go either way, depending on how we're feeling, depending on what we are encountering. And Mars is going to be square Neptune in Pisces, which is in the critical degree. It's also going to be quincunx, aka in conjunct Pluto, also in the critical degree in Capricorn now. The critical degree, it enhances the energy that the entities represent. So like I said, Mars is our action. Neptune represents our dreams and potentially delusion, depending on how heavy that placement is. And also Pluto represents transformation in our life, great transformation, the change that we experience, within us and then collectively around us, since that's generational energy. So with Mars being square and then in conjunct or quincunx the change, it means that our actions are resistant to what is happening within us. That's that Neptune energy. And around us, that's that Pluto energy. Our actions are resistant to that. So you may feel that within you, because change can be hard. We know that things sometimes feel like they're moving at warp speed. Sometimes, if it's something we really want, it's like watching paint dry. It just depends. But change is inevitable, and there's a lot of change going on right now. So when you are noticing, when you become aware of the change that's taking place, sometimes we're like, whoa, whoa, because we want to be in control of the change, but we're not always able to be in control of it. So it's important to be at one with the change, to be open to the change, to be more flexible, to move with the change instead of resisting it at every turn. So then on the 8th and 9th, we have the Sun in Virgo opposing Saturn in Pisces. Now, this is something else about um, battling out between your identity. And this is not just your true identity, this is how you identify. Because what we have to be aware of is the things that we attach ourselves to, the things that we feel make us who we are, the titles, the roles, the sometimes actual objects like clothing or trinkets, things that we attach with who we are and we feel make us who we are. Sometimes we become so attached to those things that they end up, in essence, holding us back. They end up being a crutch instead of a tool to enhance us, instead of helping to propel us forward. And to be honest, some people are not interested in getting ahead of where they are. And I'm not necessarily talking about financially ahead. I mean, just growing in life as a person, as an individual. Some people don't care about that, but I am almost positive people who are interested in astrology and different types of spirituality and holistic wellness are not interested in just staying the same, right? So, right now, though, there's some energy that is resistant to the change, though. So, when you feel that crop up within you, you have got to do the work to identify why you're feeling so resistant, what is triggering you to feel resistant, and then do the work to work through it, not to work around it, not to turn your back on it, because it will always be there, will persist, but to actually work through it so that you can move on. Okay, so that's the key. Then, as we enter the second week well, we've already entered the second week of September, but as we move further into the second week of September, um, we are noticing that Mercury is forming these inconjunct energies, these quincunx energies with Neptune, like Mars did, with Pluto, like Mars did, more of Venus being square Saturn. And you'll see a trend here that really all these aspects of who we are, the things that we identify with, how we express ourselves, how we see ourselves, how we see the world, those are our ideals. And we do become attached to them because we feel like they make us who we are. But they are resistant to all of these outer planet energies, the Pluto energy, which is the change in our life, the Neptune energy, which is um, it enhances our perspective, but it's really about our healthy imagination and dreaming. So your dreams are affected, they're impacted by what you think and how you see yourself. If you are down, if you are troubled by something, if you are experiencing a challenge in life, that will affect you in that moment. And not just your emotions, but it will affect where you are in your journey. So the evolution that's taking place in your life, it's almost like that becomes a stumbling block for you. And I always say this, I'm speaking to myself as I'm speaking to everyone else. So it's important to make sure, because there's a lot of Mercury blockage energy this month, at least in the early part of the month. It's important to make sure that the way that you communicate to yourself about yourself and to others about yourself and about your life and about what you want, what you don't want. Um, it's important that you really are mindful. You know, that whole very mindful thing that's going around. It's important to truly be mindful of ourselves, be mindful of our actions, be mindful of our thoughts, be mindful of what we say, be mindful of um, what we do. That's the Mars energy. Just be mindful. Maybe that will be the theme of September. Be mindful, very mindful, so that we can not hold ourselves back, not get in our own way. We like to project and think of all of these, these conflicts and this opposition, the ops, that we're facing left and right that are, standing in the way of our greatness. But we need to be mindful of and recognize the way that we are standing in our own way of greatness. So that's the first half of September, and I'll be in touch to do the second half for that other monthly video. So I'll be in touch. Peace.